to come back and beat the Falcons that year.
It's not wrong.
Hello and welcome back to episode 6 of I75 Live. We finally have real football games to talk about.
And the refs are back.
The refs are back in full force with some weird new rules that we're going to give our opinions on. We've also got the last episode of Hard Knocks, kind of wrap up our final thoughts on what we think about that. We're going to go into our bets of the week. I know that's huge right now. Dylan's got one. I've got one. We're going to turn it into a little series and kind of see how we do over the year. We're going to talk a lot about some of the games going on, some of our favorites, what we want to see, players we want to see. Really, a lot of good matchups.
Yeah.
And then to end this episode off, we are going to predict our NFL awards. So Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, stuff like that. That'd be kind of fun before the season really gets going.
Yep.
So without further ado, last night, Chiefs, Ravens. It was a great game.
Oh, it was an awesome game.
It was a little delayed because of the lightning. People were like all pissed off about it, but great game. I thought, the Chiefs came out and they looked really, really fast. I can't believe the Bills gave them that pick to take Worthy.
Yeah, what?
It doesn't make sense to me.
For the rest of the league, everyone's got to be pissed.
And I saw a picture to where it was Mahomes and him standing with each other, and it was smile if the Buffalo Bills gave you both these picks to pick these two players.
God.
So
they did give them the pick for Mahomes.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
So I saw that was all over Twitter. But no, the Chiefs looked really good.
They do.
They looked really fast. Kelsey was kind of, I don't know where he was, but
it's almost like they used him as a decoy almost, like the whole game, to kind of get the other guys' looks, like Rice and Worthy.
Rice played really good over the middle, and I saw his route tree. It wasn't anything too long, but it was
Boy 2.0.
It was, but he was making the most of it, of the matchups. Like there were sometimes I saw he was on Roquan Smith, and I was like, that's
great linebacker,
taking money from a So Rice was able to play really good over the middle, and then of course Worthy had the 2 touchdowns off of.
He looks.
I think he had 3 catches, 2 touchdowns, and
So and it's just it sucks that the refs just had to get involved in the game. It just because I think I'm an advocate for the Chiefs are easily one of the best teams in the league, if not the best.
Yeah,
they don't need help. And not that the Ravens would have won. The Chiefs obviously deserved to win that game, especially during that last drive when the Ravens couldn't convert a touchdown in 3 opportunities.
And that brings me to also, Lamar still hasn't figured out how to beat Mahomes.
He's done it once. Yeah.
And he had more rush attempts than Derrick Henry, which I think is crazy.
Yeah, they're going back to the AFC Championship ways. It's the same thing that they tried to do. Why are you trying to outpass the Chiefs? Why? When your game is running the ball, Derrick Henry's whole thing is wearing a team down after 4 quarters. You keep, showing Derrick Henry and running him right up the gut until teams can't, they're too tired to hit him anymore.
And that's how he made his living in Tennessee.
Yes. You get, 13 rush attempts?
Something.
That's normally a first half for him. Yeah. I saw a stat that he had the first drive, he had 5 carries and a touchdown, and the rest of the half he had 3 carries.
Yeah.
Make that make sense. How is that winning football?
No, and unfortunately, I think regardless of you want to say, Lamar has proven that you cannot rely on him to throw the ball to win you games.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it, and people are scared to say it. And that's
at this point, you're going to have the uncomfortable
You have to,
conversation.
and I think that's why everyone was so excited that they got Derrick Henry, because it turned into,
it's going to take a lot off of Lamar.
You're going to be able to grind out the game, run the ball, use Lamar's legs, because yes, he is very good at that, but as soon as you start saying, okay, we need you to throw the ball 30, 40 times a game, I just don't think it's ever going to work out.
Unless it's to Isaiah Likely.
I
benched last night for Travis Kelce, and I'm still hurt inside.
If he would have caught that last pass, too.
It 35 points. Oh, my.
To someone who I think was started in 0.5% of leagues on ESPN
It always
or something.
happens. That's just fantasy for you.
Yep.
Whoever you choose to start is going to be the person who scores less.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. You can think about it however much you want. But that timeout, not that it would have decided the game, because this was in the first half, but
The
9
one where the
seconds
Chiefs. Oh no! At the end of the
Yes.
game. Okay.
No. This was before the half.
Okay.
Right before the half, when the Ravens drove down the field, there was 9 seconds left. It was 2nd and goal. The Chiefs were caught in a bad situation where they weren't, they were having either misalignments or just miscommunication. The Ravens are about to hike that ball, and then their defensive coordinator of the Chiefs just sprints up the sideline, which you're not allowed to do.
Yeah.
You can't. No one but the head coach can call a timeout. He calls a timeout. It gets acknowledged, which is supposed to be a delay of game, which would have moved the Ravens even closer, which probably would have allowed them to just rush Derrick Henry up for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Then they go into half with the lead instead of being down 3.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me that didn't matter. Not that it wouldn't have changed the outcome overall, just because the Chiefs played like the better team last night, but that was huge.
Well, and I know a lot of people will complain about penalties and the refs, but like you just said, that one that was a 4-point swing. If they score a touchdown there, they go in, like you said, with the lead, and you never know what happens coming out of halftime.
That changes their game plan going out of the half. Like maybe they come into the third quarter running the ball more because they have a lead to preserve. And instead, Derrick Henry gets game planned out. And like you said, you can't rely on Lamar to pass the ball over and over again.
Yeah.
You at least need a balanced attack, which did not happen at all.
And now that you have first game, we can overreact and they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yes, I do agree to where this is why you got Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
This is why you got a running back of his caliber to do this to teams, because you were already really good at it. This is what you guys have been, the formula of Ravens football for years. Now you get Derrick Henry and you give him like 13 rush attempts.
They apparently turn into a completely different team when they play the Chiefs. I don't know if it's fear or just pure intimidation. I don't know what it is.
Well, maybe it kind of is, because some of the players, in the press conferences after, it's like it's all a bunch of excuses. There's no accountability. There was even when Roquan Smith was talking, he was talking about whoever 88 was and pushed, like, who cares? You lost the game. So what? Or even Lamar, it should have been a touchdown. It wasn't. His foot was on the line.
His foot was out.
Maybe you should take accountability for the wide open Zay Flowers that was in the end zone. It wouldn't have even need to come to the Isaiah Likely being out of bounds by a pinky toe.
I didn't realize how off of a throw that was until they showed the downfield point of view. Because when they showed it from the side, just the regular broadcast, it looked like Zay Flowers could have realistically lunged out to the side and caught it, but no, that wasn't even close.
No, and I even saw he was saying, well, I wasn't passing to him, I was passing to Bateman, and he stopped, and then I saw Zay Flowers, and I was like, dude, take some accountability. You
missed him.
Either
way, you missed one of them.
Either way, it was an yeah, exactly. So that, to me, it was, and even Isaiah, this is, if this is their worst game, or this is our worst game.
Those comments are going to bite him.
What are we doing? It doesn't make sense to me. It's a bunch of excuses, playing victim. You lost. You lost because you couldn't execute when it mattered most, and that's just how I look at it. You can say whatever you want about the penalties, about all that crap, but when it came down to it, Lamar couldn't hit the guy to avoid that whole play happening and it being this last second, his foot was on the line. No. So.
Even with all those penalties, they still had a chance to win. Realistically, if they convert either of those, we're going into overtime. And then who knows what happens then. But
I think they were going to go for 2 because originally, I would have done the same thing.
Right.
There's no way I'm giving Mahomes the ball.
That game might end completely different.
Yeah, and that would have been the right call, 100%, to go for 2, win or loss,
2-yard line.
Because there's no way I'm giving it to Mahomes in overtime. Because I know if they would have got the ball, they're marching down the field scoring a touchdown. You just have to assume that's going to happen.
That's wild.
So yeah, that the end of that game, I just. Take accountability for it. And it's week 1. It's not like it's the AFC Championship game. That would make a little more sense. But don't come out here and start blaming.
I don't understand why they're giving the Chiefs more bulletin board material for if they play in the playoffs. Because now they have even more of a reason to beat the living you-know-what out of.
Yeah, and you give that as soon as Hollywood Brown gets back, Travis
Kelce
is playing at his full during the playoffs. And the Chiefs are good, and they're very good. And I think
they look so good.
There's a very good chance that I think they're going to now it's going to be very hard. And yes, week 1 we've seen 2 teams play this year.
I'm interested to see. Well, this is if the Bengals even get their their stuff together with Chase, and now Higgins is hurt.
Yeah,
but they play next week. Bengals and the Chiefs week 2, so that's going to be a great game if the Bengals
Where
have
is
all
it?
their
Is
guys.
it is it in? I don't know.
I don't know actually.
I'll have to look. It doesn't matter. I mean, wherever it is, it will be a great atmosphere. But yes, that and it's games like this to where these are going to determine,
home field
advantage at the end of the year of who gets a little bit higher
games,
seed.
yeah.
So I don't know, but Chiefs are good. They look really, really fast, like they did when Tyreek Hill was there.
God,
dude. But let's get into a little bit to just round off, because I know we've been talking about it every week, is a little bit of Hard Knocks.
Yep.
Because I know Bears. Finale. It was kind of not the best because it's kind of the end. There was no game.
The 5th episode's always.
Yeah, but it did. There were some cool little montages with Caleb, and I know everyone was talking about his passing montage on social media. I think the Bears are going to be really good, and I think they highlighted a lot of things on that people wanted to see when it came to Caleb and when it came to all that. I think they're going to be good. I really do. Their receivers are really good. I think their defense is going to be as good as they were last year. I know I've picked them in a lot of fantasy leagues just because.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what you being the Bears fan, what is your final conclusion on?
I mean, like you said, it was kind of a laid back episode. The last episode of Hard Knocks is always kind of like, It's really focusing on the roster bubble guys, who gets cut, who gets brought back to the practice squad, all that leading into the season. But something that didn't get talked about enough, which I thought was really touching and just an awesome moment, was when Ryan Poles had to cut Adrian Colbert, who had been on the team for, I think, at least a few years, like broke down into tears. He had to walk into a different room. And that just shows, I think it's a very underrated part of someone in a front office being a former player, because they get it. And not only do they get it, but those players respond to someone like that much better than someone who's never been in that atmosphere or has any of that experience. Because Ryan Poles, I think they touched on it, was on the Bears in 2012 or something, and he got cut.
He got cut, and he never played again. Yeah.
So I think that part was awesome to see. It makes me, I was already a huge fan of Ryan Poles and his draft ability, but I respect the guy even more. And then Caleb, that throwing montage, a couple of throws, just people weren't even looking at him when he let the ball go. He's throwing with anticipation, something that I haven't seen out of a Bears quarterback in a long time, if ever. But yeah, I was happy to see some of the roster bubble guys that got brought back on the practice squad, because they were, really cool personalities like Austin Reed.
Yeah.
But once again, the veteran leadership, I think, is going to be the story of the season. With, I think they showed Rome and Jalen Johnson getting some reps together after practice, and then same with Montez Sweat and Austin Booker. It's going to be huge, and I can't wait for the season.
No,
Sunday can't come soon enough.
You have made me very excited to watch the Bears. I think Caleb Williams is going to be fun. I am really in on DJ Moore. Their whole offense is going to be great.
Awesome.
I agree. So I am very excited to see them play and to hopefully, for you. But yes, I hope they're very good. And
we deserve this, Bears fans. We've been waiting a long time for something like this.
Now, I will say, too, more about penalties and stuff. We didn't see a hip drop, new hip drop penalty get called the whole offseason or whole preseason.
I saw it a couple times in the preseason where it happened and they didn't call it.
Well, and when it first got announced, playing football, there's sometimes you can't avoid that. Mm-hmm. It'd be like going to tackle Derrick Henry. What are you going to do? Try and hit him in his chest?
Exactly.
Or, if you're chasing him down, you're just going to hop on his back and he's going to carry you to the end zone?
What they used to teach, I'm sure you remembering the tackling drills that we did when we were younger, is you're supposed to wrap them up and twist your body. You're supposed to contort yourself so that their legs get wrapped up and they lose their balance. That's the way they used to teach it. I don't know how they teach it now.
But even that, though, you can sit here and teach someone how to do something perfectly, but when you're running full speed, trying to think as fast as you can and react, that's hold on, I gotta wrap up and spin and do the right thing or else it's gonna get called a penalty. So I don't know. I think they just made defense, if they call it, and if it starts consistently getting called and it's really, we're doing this again, it could be very hard as a defender to still fly around, play full speed, but I have to make sure I don't land on his feet and get a penalty.
See, none were called last night, like you said, or in the preseason, but that kind of makes me worried. Like, what's their real intention behind making that illegal? Is it just so they can save, a flag to throw at the end of a game when it matters?
Well, that's when it's gonna happen.
That's what I'm worried about. And so, it really makes me curious about the intention behind making them illegal. Yeah. And they already have the new illegal formation that they can throw out at any point because apparently that's up for grabs. Doesn't get called, equally at all. So we'll see. But the kickoff, I think I gave it a chance. I don't like the kickoff.
Yeah, I don't really.
Doesn't look good.
I think after a couple weeks, I'll really be able to have an opinion on it. But it's.
See, more teams, there's not enough incentive to keep the ball out of the end zone. Because right now you're giving the receiving team an extra 5 yards if it's a touchback. I really think if you want teams to, feel like just not forced, but give them more incentive to kick it into the return zone, give the receiving team, if it's a touchback, let them take the ball at the 35.
Yeah.
And then you'll see teams start to be like, okay, let's let them try and return it.
And isn't if you kick it in the zone, you have to return it?
You have to return it.
Yeah.
Even if it goes back into the end zone, you have to return it if it hits in the return zone. Yeah. If it hits in the end zone, it's automatically, I think, from the 25.
Okay.
Which is what it's always been. So teams are just going to be like, okay, we're not going to risk the threat of a touchdown. We're just going to let y'all take the ball in 25. Yeah. Like it's always been.
And I get it, the whole injury side of things and all that. But
is it really like that different though? Like people are still running downhill. I mean, yes, the blockers, but the returners are still getting cracked. Yeah. And same for the people that are tackling the returners.
I mean, we'll see. I think 1 year to really try it and go, okay, all the data that they'll collect over injuries and all that stuff. But yeah, to me, it's just kind of like, whatever. Okay, I have a feeling 99% of them are just going to be touchbacks anyway, which is kind of what it was.
They should allow us to bet on kicker tackle stats. How many tackles the kicker's going to have each game.
That'd be funny. Or like how many touchbacks they would have.
Yes. No, speaking of bets, though, we each picked a player. We're going to run it as on PrizePicks. You can do like parlays, put your picks together. So we each have a player that we like, and we're going to run it as a 2-man going into this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to try. I think the plan is we'll do it. We'll do bet of the week. Dylan will pick his favorite player prop. I'll pick my favorite player prop. We're going to run it as a 2-man. Keep some, how good we do, whether mine hits,
see if we can keep
his doesn't, see if we can stay positive over the year. But I know Dylan has, ours are what? You have AFC, I have NFC, kind of just worked out like that. Yep. Mine, Cooper Kupp, 67.5 receiving yards.
That's really low. Like really,
highest game total of the week. Playing in Detroit. Stafford back in Detroit. They're in a dome.
It's the playoff rematch from last year.
Playoff rematch. Health is or not health. Kupp is healthy. Last time we saw him healthy, I've been talking about it all offseason. He was Triple Crown winner, dangerous. I think he goes for 100 plus. I think 67, way too low. So that is my guy for the week. Cooper Kupp, 67.5 receiving yards.
Mine is, I think it's not the highest, because I know you said Detroit and the Rams is the highest point total, but up there is Jacksonville and Miami, which is going to be a back and forth fest. No defense will be played during that game. Travis Etienne is sitting at 81.5 rushing plus receiving yards. That's both. And so, I think that easily gets over 100 for him.
Yeah, they're going to turns into a shootout. Yeah,
they're going to use him a ton. He's in the he's used in the pass game. He's used in the run game. They have Tank Bigsby behind him. That doesn't really scare me as someone who's going to rip touches from him over and over again on drives.
I can maybe see a couple red zone touches, but not like Yeah, I agree with you.
So I think Travis Etienne has an insane chance to just blow past that. It's 81.5, especially for a combined. And so, him and Kupp, put it together in your prize picks.
Those are our 2 this week. And like I said, we're going to keep track of it and go from there. So
yes, sir.
So other than that, let's get into some of the big games this week.
There's a lot of good ones.
There's a lot of good ones.
Got one tonight.
Got one tonight in Brazil. I know people are posting pictures of the stadium of it looking like crap and saying, Philly's going to be right at home because it's Philly. So some of those are funny. I think, though, this is going to be interesting because the Eagles completely, reamped everything when it came to their coaching.
Their defense too is,
their secondary's back. Yeah,
Devin White is now on that team, big linebacker.
Played for Tampa, won the Super Bowl. Cooper DeJean, I think, will be good.
Quinion Mitchell.
They've
Chauncey
got
Gardner-Johnson's
they've got the
back.
guys back, and they've got. I'm excited to watch their offense though.
Yeah.
I think Saquon
Saquon
AJ
in an
Brown,
Eagles jersey.
Jalen. Yeah, I know.
gonna look
Jalen
weird.
Hurts is an amazing quarterback. I think this could be a very high scoring game, and with Jordan Love, with the guys he's got, this could be a fun game to watch.
I hope so. I hope that the travel doesn't, how some teams that aren't used to, because I think they flew in Wednesday or Thursday, and it was a 10-hour flight, and they were advised not to sleep on the flight to, keep their sleep schedule normal. So I really hope that it doesn't affect, how players play. Because I know sometimes, we've heard from the London games, teams that aren't the Jaguars and are used to it every single year aren't, they get thrown off.
Yeah.
And it leads to them playing, a kind of a poor performance.
Yeah.
And so I still think it'll be a decent game if that does affect them. But like you said, I hope it's a high-scoring game. And, it'll be interesting to see if the Packers can capitalize on their strong finish from last year.
Yeah.
And
I really like I know they've gotten like, oh, you guys have a terrible receiver, like we don't know anyone. They've got some really, really good receivers.
They've got 4 receivers on their team that I would like to have if I didn't have, DJ Moore.
I agree. I really like Reed. I think Watson is hurt a lot, but Watson's healthy right now. He's very good.
Romeo Doubs
is good. Their Wicks is very good.
Yeah.
And you got Jordan Love. Say what you want. I know you kind of hates you because you being a Bears fan. But I think Jordan Love's going to be really good.
Well, it'll be interesting to see which Jordan Love we get because he started off last season really slow. Like the first 7 or 8 weeks, he did not look good. But then all of a sudden, just a switch flipped.
Shot his team to the playoffs, and so I'm looking forward to tonight for a lot of reasons. I think Saquon could. I was looking at all his player props. I was maybe going to throw him in there.
Yeah,
because I think he can have a really, really big game with the best O-line he's ever had, receiving and
Green Bay will have a good defense this year.
Yeah.
Though. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Rashawn Gary's still there. Kenny Clark is still there. I don't remember the Iowa guy, but pass rusher, and then they drafted Edgerrin Cooper in like the second round. Going to be a great linebacker. They signed Xavier McKinney. They drafted Javon Bullard from Georgia.
Yeah.
They still have Jair Alexander there. They're going to be a good defense.
And you have that offense and that defense. Packers are going to be really good.
Oh, yeah. I have them in my playoffs for that reason.
And for that reason, I do too. Second game, though, this game could be a lot of fun too, and it's got shootout written all over it. Texans and Colts.
They've been talking all offseason. I don't know if you've seen the back and forth between two teams.
I have, but the Texans, CJ Stroud, I have him picked for one of my award winners at the end of the year. He's got weapons galore to pass the ball to.
He's got the debut
He's
of
got
Diggs
now.
Mixon.
Mixon. He's still got Collins. He's still got Tank. I love this team. I pick the Texans are my dark horse, I think, to win the Super Bowl.
I would say they're up there.
That
for me
offense,
too.
And if they go into Kansas City, because I know they play them later in the year, they've got some really big tests, and time will tell. But I really, really like C.J. Stroud. I like his guys he's throwing to. The defense isn't the best,
they will be
but
better,
they
though.
drafted well. They have, a couple.
They signed Daniil Hunter from Minnesota. He had like 15, 16 sacks last year.
Yeah, so you never know, but I really, really like the Texans. And then the Colts with Anthony Richardson, we saw him, 3 games last year until he was done for the season? So
it was like 4 or 5, and then he had a concussion, and then he had that shoulder injury that knocked him out.
And you never know what he's gonna do, whether he can come out, he can run all over the field like kind of Lamar did, and I think he could pass the ball. He's got a huge arm, so you never know what that is. But he's got a lot of weapons too. He's got a really good running back, a good offensive line. So this game is going to be a lot of fun to watch for a lot of reasons.
It's going to be awesome.
And it's got shootout, I think, written all over it.
Another shootout. We talked about it already a little bit, but the Sunday night game.
Yep.
The
highest game total. I think it's up to 53.5 now.
Jesus.
Which I think the second highest is like 47.5.
Yep. Stafford returns to Detroit again.
Yep.
Rematch from the playoffs last year.
Yep.
Detroit did a lot to their defense. I think they're debuting 2 or 3 new cornerbacks. It's just, and they got DJ Reader from the Bengals. Detroit's going to be really good as well.
Laporta's still there. You got those 2 running backs.
I'm excited to see Jameson Williams. This is because he's actually in a starting role now. I know these first 2 years he was, pure complimentary. He'd come in for like an end around every once in a while or something like that. But no, he is wide receiver 2 now.
Yeah.
And I have him in a few fantasy leagues. I think he's going to pop off.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, and St. Brown's going to do his thing. Laporta.
Watch out for Jared Goff in a dome. That's good.
Well, I saw the stat of him in a dome versus not in a dome is crazy.
He's a completely different player.
Yeah, but that will be a great game too. Like I said, there's a reason why it's the highest total. You got Kupp on the other side. You got Puka on the other side. So
Get that man Goff some AC, and he turns into Mahomes.
I'm really excited to watch that game. The other game, Monday night, Aaron Rodgers going to
Back.
Going 49ers.
The 49ers are a team that skipped on him in the draft, too. He's from Cali, and he thought, I remember hearing the story a bunch when he
wanted to play for the 49ers.
He wanted to play for the Niners and thought they were going to take him, and they didn't. And then he fell all the way to like pick 25 or something. So,
and a lot of people aren't talking about it, too. It's probably not that big of a deal, but the Leonard Floyd, the pass rusher,
former Bear, by the way,
who tackled him when he tore his Achilles last year.
He was on Buffalo, Say
what you want, but knowing Aaron Rodgers, he might come out and
he's got a bone to pick. He's coming at him all game.
So that will be cool, just storyline. That could be a really good game too. I don't know how that game total isn't higher.
I think the Jets win that game, honestly.
I'm going back and forth. I don't know. I think it's going to come down to or if the Jets have more turnovers, 49ers are going to win because they're going to be able to capitalize. If the 49ers have more turnovers, Jets are going to be able to capitalize. And so I don't know, but it's going to be a great game Monday night. I think all the primetime games this week they did a really good job of putting because last year it kind of was like 2 out of the 4 primetime games a week were like, okay,
don't worry,
I'm going to bed.
I'm waiting for
quarter.
the Thursday night snooze fest. So it's gonna happen. It happens every year.
It will. It happens every year. But for the first week, I think they did a great job of putting teams, storylines.
Oh yeah.
And making it, must watch. Football is back, week 1. Let's go.
Yep. The game that I'm obviously most excited for, and I will be at this game.
He will be there. Yeah, you have really good seats too.
I am going to be in section 117, row 9, seats 12 and 13, in the corner of the end zone. I could not be more excited. Tickets, when I checked for nosebleeds, are like in the 400s.
Yeah.
This game is going to be packed. Soldier Field will be a madhouse. I will be showing footage. Check our social medias. I'll be posting on our stories and stuff like that. Oh my God, I'm getting antsy just talking about it. I can't wait to land.
I'm a little
Chicago.
jealous that you're going because I think it's gonna be a blast. Oh, and against like we've talked about with the Titans.
Titans are
not gonna be. Yeah, they've got a good defense. They did a lot.
Jamal Adams is already hurt. He's out. He's out for Sunday.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Big shocker.
Yeah, big shocker on that one. But their offense, like we said, Will Levis, as long as he doesn't play like crap and turn over the ball 1,000 times, that team could be competitive.
The story of this game, though, is going to be the defense. You guys, I'm just saying, people have been alluding to it all offseason that the Bears finished the season very strong on defense, and they are going to pick up right where they left off. And the debut of Caleb with all of those weapons on offense, I hope that the O-line keeps him clean because Tennessee has a good pass rush. Jeffrey Simmons is a monster. And they drafted Sweat, like we talked about, Tavondre Sweat out of Texas. Yeah. So,
great game.
No challenge.
And again, going back to talking about the prime, there's a lot of great games on this for the first week. I think they did a great job.
Well, this one too, this next one, the Falcons and the Steelers,
coming
to be fun.
The offensive coordinator for the Steelers was
an Arthur Smith
return.
Game,
so coming back to Atlanta. Who knows what's going to happen?
Russ is hurt too.
Justin Fields might play, so who freaking knows?
Justin Fields is returned
to
Atlanta.
It would be hilarious if he comes back and comes in and wins. When that's who some of the Falcons fans wanted over Kirk Cousins.
That was a big storyline in the offseason.
Very big.
Fields going to get traded to Atlanta?
I really like the Falcons, though, this year. I'm a big fan of Kirk Cousins. I'm a big fan of Drake London. I'm a big fan of Kyle Pitts. Bijan, too.
They're going to be good.
And their defense, like we've talked about, adding Judon, adding Simmons, adding all these guys.
In the span of like 2 weeks, they got so much better.
So I think if I had to pick this game, I would say the Falcons win. It could be very sloppy, though, just being so new on both sides of the ball when it comes to both quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, either if it's Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. I like the Falcons, though. They're at home. But, yes, storylines, again, you never know. With Arthur Smith coming back in town, I'm sure he's coming back and looking for a big kind of FU back to the team that fired him.
He was joking, but I saw in a press conference yesterday that they were mentioning about, how he wants to play against, the Falcons, or how he wants to do, he wants his team to perform. And he jokingly said, hey, we'd like to hang 40 on him.
Yeah. It'd be cool. The shootout would be awesome.
It'd be really
and
funny.
I think the Falcons win, but it'd be great if the Steelers come in and take or beat the Falcons.
Sure.
Last one though, two rookie quarterbacks who are starting. I think Jayden Daniels could have a really big day running the ball. I know that was one of the picks that we posted.
Tampa has, they're no slouches on defense. Yeah. That's for sure. They got a good D line.
Their secondary's good as well.
Their line. I mean, obviously they lost Devin White, so I don't know how their linebackers are doing.
Well, they still have
Levante David.
They still have Levante David. Yeah.
But Jayden Daniels, I think he'll do good. I'm expecting a lot out of him on Sunday. We get to see McCaffrey's little brother, his debut.
Yeah.
Who else? Eckler, Brian Robinson. We get to see him again.
Yep.
It's going to be fun.
Terry with what's his name, leaving to go to the Eagles.
Oh yeah, Dotson.
You never know what he's, because I think McLaurin's he's a very good receiver, very good route runner. He has been with average quarterback play. So now you throw in Jayden Daniels. You never know. So I am excited that is definitely a game I'm going to have on TV because I want to watch him play. And then the other rookie quarterback,
this game I think is going to be awesome.
Bo Nix.
It's going to be
He looked really good in preseason.
Yep.
You never know. I mean, Sean Payton wouldn't throw him out there, I don't think, if he truly thought he was ready.
Sean Payton has never started a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
In his entire coaching career, has never done it. And so, and he has his work cut out for him because Seattle has a great secondary.
And Seattle's offense is no joke either, so you're going to have to put up points to keep up with them.
Seattle's got a new coach and offensive coordinator as well. They is it the Washington guy, the Washington head coach or offensive coordinator, McDonald?
Yes, I think so.
Expect a lot of passing out of Seattle. I took Kenneth Walker in fantasy a few of my leagues because I think he's going to get utilized a bunch in the run and the pass.
Yeah.
So Seattle's going to be fun. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba, breakout year, I think.
Yeah. With some injuries, so if he's out, that brings even a bigger role to him. So you never know.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Bo Nix. I think the same with Jayden Daniels. I'm expecting a lot out of him. I think he'll have a great rapport with Cortland Sutton, and I think Javonte Williams as well is going to have a big day. Maybe. I mean, I think he'll show flashes, but like we said, Seattle's defense is no joke.
Yeah,
they made a lot of upgrades.
So with upgrades with rookies.
Yeah. Speaking of other rookies,
there are a lot of rookie wide receivers.
A ton.
Who are you most? Let's. Not Odunze, just because Bears. Other than
you gotta say Marvin Harrison Jr. Honestly, Who they play the Bills?
They play the Bills.
Bills lost a lot on secondary. Yep. They still have they've got some good corners. I think they still have Rasul Douglas. Taron Johnson's still there as well, great corner. But I do think Marvin Harrison, I wanted him until, when we traded Fields and, the clear option was Caleb, I wanted Marv.
Yeah.
Hey, this guy's going to be a stud from day one, out of the gate.
I think the guy that I'm most excited is Brian Thomas Jr. for the
He's going to be good. I think he's slept on, honestly.
I do too. And he was a guy who I was targeting in some of my fantasy drafts later in the rounds just to kind of stash him. And if he blows up, then I look like a genius for picking him.
Well, I mean, you already look like a genius taking Rashid Rice.
Oh, yeah. I have him in three of my leagues. Rashid Rice, 7th round. Everyone who I drafted with, you guys are stupid. I started him in all 3 leagues last night, too. I had 17
I'm playing
points.
You in one of our leagues.
So I scored on that. But I really like Brian Thomas. I think he's going to play really good with Trevor. Christian Kirk is still there. Yes. Ingram is still there.
They have Gabe Davis now too.
I am not a big fan of Gabe Davis, to be honest with you.
So that's
but he's another distraction on the field to open up everything
that could
else.
Be.
So
And Neighbors.
Neighbors will be good. All these guys are going to be great.
They are. Their QB play is a different story. Like
this is also true.
When I look at Neighbors and
I agree. But I think he's my favorite, to where I would not be surprised if he's just a breakout guy this year for a good team, and for a team who's going to be competing for a playoff spot, I think, at the end of the year, or at least be in the hunt for it.
Another one, Ladd McConkey, I think.
Yeah, he could have a very big role.
There's been reports coming out that he's wide receiver 1 already.
It wouldn't surprise me.
That would be crazy. I have him in a couple of my leagues. He could end up being like the Puka of this class.
It wouldn't surprise me. And being Justin Herbert lost his 2 top targets, lost his top running back,
too.
So you never know, but I think there's a lot of great talent this year, rookie-wise. It's going to be
A.D. Mitchell's going to be fun to see. Xavier Legette, Keon Coleman.
That dude's awesome. His accent,
We actually, I worked with someone that he's very close with a few years ago, and after the season, we're going to try and get Xavier on the show. I've already had, a little bit of dialogue with his friend.
Awesome.
That would be awesome.
But his personality is awesome.
Xavier, if you're watching, dude, we think the highest of you, dude. You're awesome. Love it.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. NFL award predictions.
Yes, sir.
Let's just go down the list of MVP, offensive player. We could talk about it. My MVP, I know we watched him play last night.
We had this decided before the game already,
a couple weeks ago. I got Patrick Mahomes.
I do too.
He's chasing the three-peat. I think he's going to play on a whole nother level this year. That offense looked very good.
Everything around him. He's been doing it for like at least the last 2 or 3 years with just Kelsey and a few receivers that may or may not drop the ball, but now he's got no excuses.
I agree.
That's his award to lose, in my opinion.
Offensive player of the year. I know normally 2 quarterbacks don't win this, but I've got CJ Stroud winning this.
It's fair. I think if they both have great years, but Mahomes, obviously gets that. He's earned everything that he gets and everything that people say about him.
If Mahomes goes down and has the number 1 seed, throws for 4,500 yards.
Even if him and Stroud have similar seasons,
I think
got to
Mahomes
give
still
the nod to Mahomes.
Just because he's going for the 3P. But I've got CJ Stroud winning Offensive Player of the Year. I think he's going to have a big year, like we talked about. He's got guys to throw the ball to for days. Didn't throw any interceptions last year. I think
he had 5
on 30 touchdowns or something like that. More. So now you add Diggs. Say what you want about Diggs. You add Mixon. He's in for a huge year, I think, which would land him Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with that, but I think Breece Hall is going to win Offensive Player of the Year.
Great pick, too.
He is going to explode.
Yeah.
I think just before he tore his ACL, when he first came into the league, he looked explosive and awesome. And then he came back from the ACL injury on a Jets offense that honestly couldn't buy a first down, let alone 5 yards.
Yeah.
And he still put up incredible numbers for what he was expected to. This is a new O-line. I think they made a lot of changes. They signed They drafted Fashanu, and then they signed Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith at tackle. Aaron Rodgers is back. Garrett Wilson, Malachi Corley, Mike Williams to worry about in the passing game. Breece Hall is going to have a year. I took him in 2 of my leagues.
I've got him in 1 league too, so I hope so.
He's going to be so much fun all year.
No, I that's a great pick. Defensive Player of the Year. I got TJ Watt. I think
that's a good pick any year, honestly.
He hasn't. I think he's kind of gotten a little bit disrespected the past couple years where he should have won it. Now I know Aaron Donald was a thing, and Aaron Donald was arguably the best to ever do it.
Garrett had a great year last year too, but I don't know.
TJ Watt I think's gotten snubbed a lot. And I've got him having another great year for a Steelers defense.
A healthy year, too. If he plays all 16 games or 17 games, you got to give it to him.
I agree. So I've got... Now, I did say I was flirting with the idea of throwing Max Crosby in here, too.
I was, too. I just don't think the Raiders are going to be good enough as a unit.
That's why I went with TJ Watt over Max Crosby. And I think TJ Watt will ultimately be on a better team when it comes to record and winning games and stuff. So I got TJ Watt.
Similar guy, similar situation. My pick is Aiden Hutchinson for Defensive Player of the Year. The Detroit did a lot on their defense to surround Hutchinson, not only on the pass rush, but in the back end. The secondary is going to be able to hold up more, which will lead to more sacks for Hutchinson, and he already had a massive year last year. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hutchinson ended with because he gets interceptions too. He drops back into coverage. He will have 15 plus sacks. He'll have 3 or more interceptions. He'll have tackles for loss. He'll have forced fumbles. He's a wrecking ball.
That's a great, and the argument is he's going to be on a really good team too that probably is going to go to the playoffs. So that will help his case as well.
Hutchinson, I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah, it's a great pick. Offensive Rookie of the Year. We both agree on this one. Caleb Williams.
Surprise, surprise.
I think a lot. I don't know who else, unless a receiver just comes out and can, kind of how Puka did last year and just goes for 1,500 yards, breaks records. I don't know if Caleb Williams has the season that everyone is kind of expecting him to have, I don't know how he doesn't win it.
Caleb is going to win.
Yeah.
I am completely biased. I don't care. This is Offensive Rookie of the Year. Caleb Williams, this is his award to lose. He's going to have 30-plus touchdowns. first time in Bears history, and he will probably have more than 4,000 passing yards. Also, first time in Bears history.
I agree. I think that one is a little bit of a no-brainer, and I know a lot of people are kind of throwing him in that as well. So
this next one's a little bit of a toss-up though, because like we said in an earlier episode, the 15th player in the draft was the first defensive player taken. Before that, it was 14 straight offensive guys. So really, defensive rookie of the year is kind of a toss-up.
Yes. Now, I was between two guys. I was between the guy you picked. I really like Chop Robinson, though, defensive end for the Dolphins.
I saw some footage of him, I think, in preseason.
I did, too. Good. And I saw it, looked up some stats, looked up the snaps that he did get within preseason. Played very good. He was very explosive. His one-on-ones against, in joint practices during the preseason, he was doing really good, against some top guys. I really like Chop Robinson on, again, a team that's going to be very good. Yeah. They're going to get a lot of attention, going to get a lot of media. And if he can come in and get, 12, 13 and a half sacks for a Dolphins defense that was riddled by injuries last year, and he can kind of hold that down until, I know Chubb is on the physically underperform list, so he's out for 4. If he can come in, hold that down, I think there's a good chance that he could end up being the defensive rookie of the year.
The reason I disagree is because I don't know if Chop Robinson will get enough reps once those guys are back.
That's fair.
Because they also have Jalen Phillips, and then I don't know if they still have Melvin Ingram. He may be not on the team anymore.
I don't think he's on the team anymore. But I know Chubb. He's out for the first 4 games. So,
but once Chubb comes back, Chubb and Jalen Phillips are your 2 edge rushers, like every down. Yeah. And so Chop becomes a rotational guy again. And I know they lost Christian Wilkins. Could be a situation where
they throw him in the
middle. Yeah. One of them, whoever's the largest and can
just
eat
have
up
him on the
2
field.
blocks.
Yeah,
maybe, and then I could see it. But my pick is Austin Booker. Yeah. I saw way too much from him in Hard Knocks and the preseason in general, and just with Montez Sweat teaching him everything he knows. Oh my God, I cannot believe this guy fell to the 5th round. I remember listening to analysts talking about this guy. Because he's only 21. If he had waited 1 more year, people were saying he was going to be a first
rounder. Yeah.
So getting him in the 5th reminds me.
They traded up for him too, right?
They did. Yeah. This was their guy that they wanted, and they waited. A huge risk to wait if this is the guy you knew you wanted, but wow. He looks explosive.
Yeah.
And with the Bears defense, just arguably going to be the best secondary in the league.
You've pinned back the ears and let him go.
You've got Montez Sweat opposite of you. You've got, I won't say studs yet at defensive tackle, but we've got some great options at defensive tackle that could end up making a name for themselves this year. I'm talking about Andrew Billings, big guy, run stuffer, and then Gervon Dexter, who's a huge and lean defensive tackle who's built for pass rushing.
Yeah.
And so that's going to create a lot of one-on-ones for Austin Booker, and from what I've seen, no one has been able to block him one-on-one. It doesn't matter who you put in front of him. So I really think the Bears could do what the Jets did 2 years ago with Garrett Wilson and Sauce. I think you could see clean sweep of offensive or rookies of the year.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. So comeback player of the year. I was between 2 guys. This one was hard. They're 2 great picks. I'm gonna go with Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Joe Burrow guy. I like Joe Burrow. Hopefully, Jamar Chase gets a deal done.
Say, his offense is
hopefully
got a lot of question marks.
I'm going into it going that all those guys are going to be there and be playing. I like Joe Burrow. Okay. When we saw him healthy, he went to the Super Bowl. When he saw with a healthy Jamar Chase, the numbers he put up, one of the only quarterbacks in the AFC to beat Mahomes when it comes down to it. So I've got Joe Burrow. Now I can very easily see it going to also the guy that you picked.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, I think, is the runaway. Well, not runaway, because like you said, Joe Burrow, if his offense, shows up at Jamar, but I don't know. Just Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. People are forgetting. 2 short years ago, I don't care that he had a down year his last year in Green Bay. He had receivers that had no rapport with him. Devontae Adams was gone. And from what I saw, just so many miscommunications happened that last full year. And he gets to New York, tears his Achilles in 4 plays.
Yeah. And
so I really think he's going to have a massive chip on his shoulder.
I do too.
Not that he needs one anymore, but I really think he's on a mission. He's going to show the league, I'm not gone just yet. Kind of similar to what Brady was doing his last 3-something years. We're like, I'm still around. I'm not going anywhere. So I think Aaron Rodgers has a massive year and wins comeback player
I do
of the
too.
year.
And like I said, I think those are the two guys that it's going to come down to. And I'm Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't be mad if it was either one of them.
Yep. But our coach of the year.
Yes. I've got Raheem Morris, Falcons head coach.
That's a good pick.
I think it's a little bit of a sleeper pick.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people are kind of still, the Falcons are going to be the Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to be good this year. Kirk Cousins is going to be able to play very good at quarterback like he did at Minnesota, regardless of what you think. If, we can't win the playoff games, oh well. He's got a good offense. He's got a great defense now. Raheem Morris was great in LA as the offensive coordinator there.
He was the defensive guy. But they also brought the Rams offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, is there as well.
So they're going to be really good. So I've got him. Now, there are a lot of great options for this. I like Raheem Morris, though, for the Falcons.
I've got Matt Eberflus, Bears head coach. I think he's got his guys behind him. I love what I see from a leadership standpoint throughout Hard Knocks and his attention to detail. And I really think that gets him some nods around the league. I think, and especially if the Bears are as good as I think they're going to be, 11 or 12 wins. I mean, you got to give it to him. He's turning around the franchise, really. Him and Ryan Poles have done an incredible job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even recognize this team anymore. From, like, a couple of years back when we first hired Eberflus, oh, my God. Like, it's night and day. And I'm just, God, Sunday. I need Sunday. My flight to Chicago is tonight. I will be there, and just the second we touch down, my God.
That's funny.
But
well, so anyway,
let's go down the line real quick.
Go down the line.
Yeah.
So for my NFL award predictions, I've got Patrick Mahomes as my MVP. I've got CJ Stroud as my offensive player of the year. TJ Watt as my defensive player of the year. I've got Caleb Williams as my offensive rookie of the year. I got Chop Robinson as my defensive rookie of the year. I have Joe Burrow as my comeback player of the year. And I have Raheem Morris as my coach of the year.
Okay. Yep. It's a pretty solid list. I think me, MVP, Patrick Mahomes. I've got Offensive Player of the Year, Breece Hall. Defensive Player of the Year, Aiden Hutchinson. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Austin Booker. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Caleb Williams. Comeback Player of the Year, Aaron Rodgers. And then Coach of the Year, Matt Eberflus. Slight bias, but it won't be biased if I'm right. So...
Well, now we touched on it last episode, but Dylan has issued a little friendly challenge that I'll kind of let him rehash.
Yep. So we are calling this the Prime Time Challenge. We are going to take a tally of all of our picks. What we're going to do every single week is we're going to pick who we think is going to win the primetime games every single week, which is Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, and then all of the holiday games. So whether it's Thanksgiving, they have a Black Friday game, Christmas, all of that. We'll take a tally of how many each of us gets right, like our total record, and whoever gets less, whoever's the loser, is going to have to participate in a punishment that you guys get to decide. You guys go in the comment section, be as creative as you want. Obviously, don't be, vulgar or anything crazy that'll get us arrested, but we will be paying close attention to you guys' ideas, and the best one will be performed by us. Yes. We've already had a couple good ones.
We have had a couple good ones of some of our friends, some of other people who have messaged us. So.
And the last thing, if we tie, we both do it.
Yes.
So if we somehow tie,
there's no way that happens. But
foreshadowing real quick. Let's make that a possibility.
So we both picked the Chiefs last night, though.
Yes, so we're both 1-0.
So both 1-0. We're picking the game tonight in Brazil.
Yep.
Who do I have tonight? I have the Eagles tonight. That's who I'm going with tonight. But we will make this list visible and seen, so there's no, I said it was this, I said it was this. Yep. We're gonna try and submit them, before Thursday night, so we can get all this in, and not cheat or whatever, so we can really keep track of it.
While we're here, who's your Sunday night and Monday night winner?
Oh, Sunday night, I'm gonna go
the Rams and the Lions.
Oh man, I know I picked the Rams to do very good this year. I'm gonna go with the Lions at home though. I think they've got a lot of juice playing at home. First game, Detroit. And it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be close, very high scoring, like we said. I'm gonna go with the Lions though. Monday night, I've got San Francisco.
Okay. So tonight, it's a toss up. I really don't know. Both teams are playing an away game. Traveled a bunch. I like Philly. Dude, it's tough.
They could both be very good.
I'm gonna, dude. I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
So we both got
it's gonna
Philly
be
tonight.
A close game, and
so
then
we both had the Chiefs. Both have Philly. Sunday night.
I am going to go with the Lions. I do think they win, but Monday night I have the Jets winning. I really think the Jets win.
Monday nights are only different this week. Sweet, good deal.
Hey, great minds think alike. So
hey, like we've seen even last night, like one little pinky toe last night changes that whole game.
And then we're
maybe.
both 0-1.
And then we're both 0-1. So it's gonna be fun. And again, like you said with the punishments, don't come up with something stupid. Like come up with something.
Be creative. There's a ton.
There's so many good ideas that would not get us arrested or in trouble or something along those lines.
Sure.
But other than that, thank you. Football is back officially.
Long wait.
Game last night, game tonight. Can't wait. Full weekend, week 1. Dylan will be there at the Bears game.
Sir, expect some footage.
I know he said we might do like a halftime update at the stadium, before the stadium, stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. But other than that, we hope that all your guys' favorite players, fantasy has been going great so far. I know it has for me. Rashid Rice,
Why, Travis Kelce? Why? Why did you have to do that?
But other than that, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys next time.
Yes, sir. Follow the social medias as well.
Yes,
like
all the social media.
I will be posting our stuff on Instagram, and we have obviously short clips on TikTok, Instagram, and our bet will be coming out on our Twitter, our X, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's all we got.
Another great episode. We'll see you guys next time.
All right. It's been real, guys.